We have this fundamental trust that computers are perfect at math. They're built on logic, on precision. They don't make mistakes with numbers. Or do they? Let's put that to the test with a question so simple you could do it in your head.
So what is 0 0.1 plus 0 0.2? The answer is, well, it seems pretty obvious, right? But something funny happens when you ask a lot of computer systems to do this for you. You get something a little bit unexpected.
And nope, that is not a typo. You're seeing that right. The machine spits out an answer that is technically wrong. It's a tiny, tiny error way out there in the decimal places, but it's there. And this isn't some random glitch or a bug in one piece of software.
So if it's not a bug, what in the world is going on? To really get this, we have to pull back the curtain and look at how computers are forced to see the world of numbers, which is very different from how we see it. Okay, the whole problem really comes down to this one fundamental conflict. In mathematics, you have an infinite number of real numbers between any 2 points. But a computer, it only has a finite, fixed number of bits to work with. It literally has to squeeze an infinite concept into a tiny, finite box.
Think of it this way. On one hand, you have the world of pure math, where real numbers form this perfect, smooth, continuous line. But on the other hand, you have the computer's version, which are called floating point numbers. They're much more like a digital ruler. There are precise marks, but there are always gaps in between those marks. This means almost every number a computer stores is just a close approximation of the real thing.
And that tiny difference, that gap between the true number and the computer's best effort, is what we call rounding error. It's not a mistake in the way we usually think of it. It's just an unavoidable feature of the design. You know how you can't write 1/3 perfectly as a decimal? You get 0.333 repeating forever? Well, computers have the exact same problem with numbers like 0.1 when they try to store them in binary. It just can't be done perfectly. So these tiny rounding errors seem pretty harmless, right? They're so small, they're practically invisible. But what happens when you subtract two numbers that are very, very close to each other? That's when these tiny, harmless errors can suddenly get magnified and become, well, catastrophic. This is a phenomenon called catastrophic cancellation. It's a real danger in numerical computing. When the main, most significant parts of the numbers cancel each other out, the only thing you have left is the noise, those tiny little rounding errors from all the previous calculations. And suddenly, that noise is all you can see. Let's look at a concrete example using part of the quadratic formula. If you were to do this with a pen and paper, the exact answer for b squared minus 4ac would be a very specific number, 0.0292. But inside the computer, those little rounding errors start to creep in. b squared gets rounded to 11.2, and 4ac gets rounded to 11.1. So when the computer subtracts them, it gets 0.1. So how wrong is 0.1? Well, in technical terms, it's off by 70 UPs, that's units in the last place. It's basically just a fancy way of saying the answer is not just a little bit off, it's almost completely wrong. The crazy part is, the computer performed the subtraction itself perfectly, but that subtraction acted like a magnifying glass, exposing all the hidden rounding errors from the steps that came before it, leaving you with a garbage result. Okay, so if basic math is this, fragile, how does anything actually work? How do we run complex simulations or even play video games? Well, this is where engineers got really, really clever. They came up with a set of rules, the IEEE 754 standard, which includes a whole zoo of special numbers designed specifically to manage this chaos. Now, this table might look a little intimidating, but the core idea behind it is actually pretty simple. Instead of letting the whole system crash or just silently give you a wrong answer when something weird happens, the standard sets aside specific patterns of ones and zeros to represent these exceptional cases. Think of them as special flags for things like 0, infinity, and something called not a number. So first up in our little zoo, we have NaN, which stands for not a number. If your program tries to do something mathematically impossible, like dividing 0 by 0 or taking the square root of a negative number, it doesn't just crash. Instead, it returns this special NaN value. This value then continues through any later calculations, acting as a clear signal that something went wrong somewhere upstream, all without bringing the entire program to a halt. Then you've got infinity. What if a calculation results in a number that's just too huge for the computer to store? Instead of just giving you the biggest possible finite number it can, which would be really misleading, the system returns infinity. This is way safer because it gives you a predictable, clear result for operations like dividing 1 by 0, where the mathematical answer is, well, infinity. And now for probably the weirdest one of all, signed 0. That's right, a computer can have both a positive 0 and a negative 0. I know it sounds totally absurd, but it's actually crucial because it preserves one tiny important piece of information. It tells you which direction a number was coming from as it approached 0. And for certain mathematical functions, knowing whether you approached 0 from the positive or negative side makes all the difference.
So this is all fascinating theory, right? But what does it actually mean in practice? Well, for anyone who writes code, understanding these limitations isn't just academic. It's about writing software that is stable, reliable, and actually gives you the right answers. The cool thing is, we can actively fight back against things like catastrophic cancellation. Take this standard quadratic formula that we all learned in school. A smart programmer knows they can rearrange that formula into a different form. Algebraically, it's identical. It gives the same answer in pure math. But numerically, it's far more stable because it's cleverly designed to avoid that dangerous step of subtracting two numbers that are almost equal.
Here's another fantastic example. Instead of calculating x squared minus y squared directly, it is almost always safer to calculate it as x minus y times x plus y. Why? Because you're replacing a subtraction that could be catastrophic with one that's totally benign, because you're subtracting the original, more exact numbers. It's a simple change that can make a huge difference in accuracy.
So where does that leave us? We started with a simple addition problem that gave a wrong answer. We saw how these tiny, invisible errors can explode and create chaos. And we've looked at the weird but brilliant set of tools that engineers invented to manage it all. What's the big picture here?
The source material for this uses a word that I just love. It says that the precision can wobble, and that's such a perfect way to describe it. Floating point math isn't perfectly rigid and fixed. The level of precision you have actually shifts and wobbles depending on the size of the numbers you happen to be working with. And that's really the big takeaway. We need to adjust our mental model. Computers are not perfect calculators. They are incredibly sophisticated, incredibly fast approximation engines. They are built on a foundation of very clever trade-offs, all designed to be good enough for almost everything we could possibly throw at them. Knowing this isn't about distrusting computers. It's about understanding them more deeply. It's about recognizing the wobble. So the question I'll leave you with is this. Now that you know the machine has this built-in wobble, where in your own world, in the software, the games, or the systems you use every single day, might you be seeing its effects?